For the past few decades, we had high hopes in social media and technology on improving our lives at work, relationships, and communication. Fast forward to the present day, our hope seems to be collapsing. Depression, anxiety, loneliness have been growing at a concerning rate due to excessive social media use, especially in adolescents. It seems that people are getting more unhappy compared to the last century, when social media was not as prevalent. But how do we end up here? Blaise Pascal, a mathematician, philosopher, and theologian, said that the main cause of man's unhappiness is the inability to sit quietly in his own room. People want to be happy, but many things like death, weakness, and wretchedness prevent us from being happy. So how can we be happy? Maybe by being immortal? But that's impossible. Well, what's the alternative? People have decided that it is to avoid thinking or contemplating about these unfortunate states. How does one avoid these things? By distracting ourselves, or as Pascal calls it, diversion. Diversion means an activity that diverts the mind from tedious or serious concerns, a recreation or pastime. In other words, diversion acts as a distraction to the existential questions that constantly bother us, such as what or who am I, where did I come from, and where am I going? It seems like avoiding these questions may relieve our feelings of discomfort or uneasiness, at least for some time. The reason why we engage in so many activities and affairs, says Pascal, is because we do not want to think about these questions, as they sometimes make us realize the vanity of our lives. Imagine that you have wasted the past 10 years of your life playing video games, and one day you are asked to sit in your room quietly for 5 minutes, thinking about the meaning and purpose of your life. Wouldn't that make you feel uncomfortable? And wouldn't you rather do something else to avoid thinking about it? But Pascal says that is exactly what makes us unhappy. Pascal also thought that people engage in many activities not necessarily because they enjoy them, but merely for the experience of it. We don't want the peaceful life of reflection. What we want is to constantly fill up our schedules by doing things that might not even be meaningful, so that we don't have time to face the reality of human existence. He also says that we prefer the hunt rather than the capture, because when the hunt is over, the agitating state of boredom once again confronts us. People do not like being bored, not just because of the questions that disturb us, but also because boredom makes one feel stressed, anxious, agitated, and lethargic. One study showed that when people are given 6 to 15 minutes to sit in a room and think, they chose to shock themselves rather than doing nothing but think. This suggests that people would do something rather than nothing, even if it was something negative. Today, people have found new ways of diversion. The most common one is our phones. What do we do with our phones to distract ourselves from thinking about meaningful questions? Social media. But how does social media affect our mental health and possibly lead to unhappiness? Studies have shown that time spent on social media is linked to depression, anxiety, and psychological distress. Social media also makes people unhappy due to social comparisons, less sleep, cyberbullying, and spending less time with friends and family. What are some ways to reduce these mental health issues so that people can be happier? First, set a screen time limit for apps. For example, 15 minutes of Instagram and YouTube every day. Once the time is up, access to the app is blocked. Second, set certain time periods where you can use your phone. For instance, you can only use your phone between 9 to 9:30 at night to check text messages and reply to people. This reduces the chance of you going on your phone subconsciously, like when you are on the bus. You might say, what if there's an emergency? Obviously, people can still call you when you're not on your phone, and you can answer it. Third, spend 5 to 10 minutes daily thinking about the deepest questions of human existence, and try your best to find answers to it by reading books or doing some self-reflection. Lastly, try to spend more time with friends and family, as studies have shown that high social support may lead to increased health and well-being. In short, if you want to be happy, get good at being bored.